all the participants, dear Sutani sir, coordinator sir, Deepak Sonani sir, we will start our sessions today. We have with us Dr. Mukul Sutani sir from COEP. The topic for today's session is role of curriculum design in quality education. This is the second session on the same topic. Sutani sir, welcome once again, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Should I start sharing?
Yes, yes, sir. You can.
Yes. Yes, sir. It is visible, sir.
Visible, no?
Yes.
Okay. So, friends, we were here yesterday. Very great morning to all of you again. Morning sessions are always good, right? All of your teachers, so you must be experiencing. The morning sessions, the learners are quite fresh in their reception. Okay, they can grasp, understand the contents which are delivered by teacher in a better manner because mornings are always fresh. So I'm really again delighted to interact with my teacher friends here. And then innovations in teaching learning, they start from curriculum, is it not? Because that is the entity which I design in autonomous colleges, which I get from university affiliated colleges, from a university, board of studies, right? And then we deliver it. So nobody can deprive a teacher from remaining autonomous, from remaining liberalized, from remaining free in delivering the content, is it not? Whether you're autonomous college or not, whether you're university department or not, whether you're affiliated college or not, content delivery, curriculum delivery is always in the hand of teachers, is it not? That's the thing. And we are discussing yesterday process of curriculum design that we are discussing. And then this is the process is continued. We have to collect the need of aspirations of stakeholders, basically teachers and learners. And then really we have to sense what are the technologies of tomorrow and analyze all such needs and aspirations and then design, develop the structure. Generally in the university affiliated system, we have a faculty of engineering and technology, a faculty of science, engineering and technology today. Okay, in Pune University, we have faculty of science, engineering, technology together. And that faculty has to do a job of developing the structure, curriculum structure, which is a tabular structure, right? And then we have to fit our courses, all types of courses into it, theory course, lab course, elective course, open elective course, departmental elective course, humanity course, science course, project course, all that is fitted with its code, with its teaching scheme and examination scheme in that structure, right? And then we generally invite expert teacher teams who from the title of the course, they derive the complete unit-wise syllabus that they do. And then we implement the curriculum design with the content delivery and we go as per examination scheme, we examine or assess the students, right? This process is continuous, so to keep on continuously taking the review, how much curriculum was difficult, tough to understand, tough to teach, how was the examination. This feedback process is always continuous, right? And it is encompassing, 360 degrees. Teachers, students, all of them should be taken into account, right? And once we do that, the cycle continues. Every 3-4 years, rather every year, every 6 months, at the end of semester, we should keep on taking review and then accordingly modify. That we must do, right? The process is still continued. We have domain-wise team of teachers. And in Pune University, we have a very democratic system. Even though now in COEP, we are autonomous, so we still have a democratic system. We call domain-wise teams of teachers who are really experts, who have experience of teaching that course for a long. So let's say if I have to derive a syllabus of data structures and file handling, let's say, okay, or theory of computer science, or signals and systems, or digital signal processing. Then across colleges, I form a team of teachers, group of teachers who are like-minded, who are teaching that course from long ago, let's say, so they develop some expertise and experience of that course, and they submit that course syllabus to board of studies. We have board of studies, branch-wise, no problem. And then we submit that to Faculty of Engineering and Technology. This is a travel which is bottom-up. And then Academic Council or Senate. Senate is a typical nomenclature in autonomous colleges. academic council happens to be in universities. They stamp that this is the syllabus. Then university authorities, they publish the syllabus, disseminate the syllabus curriculum. It is on website, everywhere we do that, right? And then that reaches the hand of teachers and all these students. That happens over there. What are attributes of good curriculum? So I have been now really philosophical. All curricula in the world, let it be IIT, NIT, Stanford, Harvard, first thing we should always claim that curriculum should be always learner centric, right? All those era of teacher centric curriculum design and teacher centric examination, teacher centric curriculum delivery, teaching is all gone. Believe me, that we had when I was an engineering student at NIT Nagpur, we really suffered a lot from teacher centric teaching, teacher centric examination. All the people of my age will realize. In COEP, I did my master's. Okay, and how we were teacher centric that time, that I realized all teachers used to be very khadus kind of teachers, right? Today, we teachers are quite democratic teachers. We have changed our mindset, we have changed our attitude because the market of education is learner centric, right? What learners want to learn, that we have to deliver. Okay, I always design this, describe this academics today. Okay, at COEP also I've been propagating it that though world says globally there is a trend that all this syllabus, curriculum, design, delivery should be learner centric. Let it be learner centric, but still it should be driven by teachers. I should not surrender and submit to my learners say that, oh, you should have diluted examination. No, even in online examination also this time, no, from last 2 3 semesters we are doing online examination. Still, we saw to it at COEP that we are never driven by students. Students will not dictate the terms. Teachers will dictate the terms. So academics at COEP is driven by teachers, though it is learner centric. We teach them again and again. If they don't understand, we teach them again and again. And world says that we should be learner centric, no doubt. Syllabus curriculum must be futuristic because it has to take into account all the technological trends, etc. But at the same time, it should be pragmatic. Pragmatic, it should be realistic, not too idealistic. It should be realistic. We should be able to implement. If I got let's say something in the future, technology of future, rocket science of future, which I cannot really teach, I cannot implement. I do not have laboratory equipment and still I'm keeping it as a lab. That is something which is not allowed, right? Syllabus must be futuristic. At the same time, it must be practical also, pragmatic also. It should be enabling teachers, right? I should not feel that the course which has been kept in syllabus by Board of Studies, it is something which is out of this world. That course should enable me to teach. Teaching, learning resources should be available. Good textbook, good reference book, good open source material, good web material should be available. References should be available. It should enable the teacher. Okay, and then in turn, teacher should enable the students. That's the way. Enabling teachers, teacher enabled. That's the way I describe the good curriculum characteristic, right? Encouraging innovations in pedagogy. Every course which is introduced in the curriculum, it should be, I should see to it that I can really do some novel experiments while delivering it, right? Can I embed a small video clip from IIT Bombay professor while I'm delivering my content? Can I do that? Can I have a Google form in between just to check how much student could grasp? Can I really have some kind of gesture based or acting based performance based teaching in between? Does my curriculum or syllabus of a course get me that opportunity? I can do some kind of pedagogical innovations while I deliver. Also, can I experiment with the examination pattern? Can I do that? Does my syllabus allow me to do that? That is something should be the curriculum's attribute, which is good curriculum, right? Challenging to deliver, but easy to assimilate. Assimilate is grasp, understanding, right? I shouldn't see to it that students don't understand my course. I shouldn't see to it that. But at the same time, teachers should every time need some preparation. Okay, just like our old age teachers, no, at COEP or in VNIT even, they used to carry their notes, 40 pages copy for so long years, right? No change in the notes. That's all yellow pages notes they used to carry. It was not challenge for them to deliver something, the content. But today, we teachers are always on the toes. The course content should be so out of this, like say, state of the art that it should be challenging to deliver. I should need every time preparation. For 60 minutes lecture delivery, I should prepare really 2 hours in on the background, in my mind, in my brain. I should prepare the notes, should prepare presentation, should plan for the board work, challenging to deliver, but I should see to it that it is easy to be grasped by the learners. That should happen. Curriculum must be welcomed by industry corporate. That's a condition. It's a precondition, prior condition. It must happen because industry corporate are welcoming, absorbing our students at their employees. That must happen. Therefore, my curriculum must ensure good job prospects. Right? No, my student is able coming to me for a job, for a good core placement, domain specific placement. That must happen. Okay. Opportunities in higher education. Can I have a opening for my students in MBA, finance? Can they go? Yes, they should. They should go. NEP 2020, the new education policy at national announced in 2020, it is encouraging. See, I cannot have only technical college, engineering college. They are encouraging that you should be multidisciplinary institute. There should be a huge component of humanities, social sciences, arts, liberal arts, languages, management, law, IPR in engineering curriculum also. This is the global trend. And therefore, there should be opportunities created for diversified opportunities created for even higher education. Can they start their career in research? Can my BTech BE student get direct admission to PhD program in some IIT? Because many new IITs are encouraging sharp BTech BE guys for direct PhD program. They can just escape from MTech ME. No, IIT Gandhinagar does it every year. I receive a brochure from IIT Gandhinagar that all your toppers BE, BTechs can be encouraged to go to IIT Gandhinagar PhD program. Does my syllabus encourage that? And it should be entrepreneurship, startup, they should be going for it, right? My mini project, micro project, main project, all that should encourage students to convert their project into a prototype. A proof of concept should be converted to prototype, prototype to technology transfer to a product, patenting, everything should be encouraged over there. My curriculum should be so encompassing, so total in itself, complete in itself, that all these things should be uh, visible from my curriculum. So this is challenge. I said every time it's a thin line balance, globally acceptable curriculum, at the same time locally relevant. Right? I should see to it that I also cover curriculum of GATE. I also surrender myself to NEP 2020. I also look at MIT, Stanford, and Cambridge and Oxford. I also look at my sugar factories near Baramati. Let's say all my local trains. I also try to incorporate. So it's a quite a balance optimization problem. I always describe it like that. That happens. All of you know you are good teachers. All of you know, but just for the sake of terms and terminologies of curriculum structure, what are they? We have courses: theory course, lab course, core course, elective course. Now I again appeal to all of you that forget the terminology of subject. We are not subject teachers. Okay, we are not subject teachers. Branch of engineering is a program of engineering. OBE terminology is like that. And subject means course. So we are all course teachers now. As early you forget older terminology, as it is better, right? So we are delivering program to the student, and course happens to be my purview, my ownership, right? Forget about subject. Subject is the student, praja, as we say, audience, right? So that's the way. So subject in this curriculum kind of stuff is student, audience is the subject, right? So we are all course teacher, and we have courses like theory, lab, core, elective course, seminar course, GD course, project course, mini project course, macro project course, internship as also a course because we evaluate it, right? No, all these are types of courses. What are the acronyms or short form for these courses? Program Core Course, PCC, Basic Science Course, BSc, Engineering Science Course. Okay, Computer Programming Fundamentals is Engineering Science Course. Is it not? That's the way. Basics of Mechanical Engineering, Civil Engineering is an Engineering Science course. Is it not? Python Programming, Engineering Science course. LC is a lab course. HSMC is a Humanities, Social Science and Management course. MLC is a mandatory learning course. What is mandatory learning course? MHRD, Ministry of Education, UGC, AICTE, they say that you must learn, make your students learn about Constitution of India, oh, Indian culture, history of technology, professional ethics, environmental sciences and awareness. These are all mandatory learning courses. Now AICTE Model Curriculum 2018 says that you can make all these mandatory learning courses audit courses. So I do not need to sacrifice my credits for them. Okay, anyway, AICTE recommends that I should go for lesser and lesser credits. Okay, and for MLC kind of course, I do not need to lose I do not need to lose my this credits. That happens. Okay, all of them should have teaching scheme, evaluation scheme, etc. All of you understand that, right? And then choice-based credit system. That is something all of you understand now. That UGC, AICTE, everywhere we expect that system should be choice-based credit system. Do I have it? Truly speaking, we don't have. Truly speaking, we don't have. Because choice-based credit system is quite a wider and quite a liberalizing concept from students' angle. Now, I don't have time to explain you what is true choice-based credit system, but we have limited choice-based credit system. We say we offer a basket of electives we offer, right? And students have an opportunity to choose from one of those four offered electives. I offer four electives at department level, program level, open electives, and institute level, cross departmental level. I do that, right? In COEP, we also have HSMC elective. Means what? For humanities, social science, management courses, communication languages, we have electives for them. So this is quite a choice. Student can choose between English and Japanese, Japanese and German, German and Chinese, German and Spanish, that they can choose. We have a liberal art course wherein student can choose from music, performing music, right? Painting, for that sake, short film making, film critic. Okay, that he can learn from. History of Marathas, let's say. Okay, history of Rajputs. Any kind of choice he can make it over there. So there is some kind of choice-based credit system available. Okay, available. We have also choice in the final year. VIT Pune does that. We also did do it. That student can opt for an intensive coursework instead of project, right? They can opt for project which is in-house. They can opt for project in industry. Okay, they can opt for internship in industry. They can opt for internship in IIT. This kind of choice is available. Okay, choice-based credit system is in that way we implemented partially that we do. Then generally we have marks, even the examination paper students write, and I set the paper, I give it that paper to the students. Students write the paper, examination. I take the oral, I take the defense. I have viva, whatever. Okay, I generally allot marks to them. Then we calculate based on all the marks, semester wise there is a percentage, year wise there is a percentage, that we do. Okay, and we offer a class, first class, second class, first class with distinction, etc., etc. But I think this system of marks, percentage, allotting the class is now rotten. It is old method. Hmm? Today, every course I allot, I calculate marks, no doubt. There is some scale of converting marks into letter grade. EX, A, B, C, D, E, F. Let's have that grade. In COEP, we have double letter grade. We are excellent, then we are A. Excellent means AA for us. Then we have AB, then we have BB, then we have BC, then we have CD, CC, etc., etc. It goes up to FF. We have some, and we can find out then pointers. We say grades we allot based on the marks, and there is a credit for every course, right? 3 credit course, 4 credit course, 1 credit course, 2 credit course, etc., etc. Generally, more the credits to the course, more is the engagement in classroom or lab. As simple as that. A 3 credit course theory means 3 hours I have to engage per week for the student. As simple as that. 1 credit for lab means 2 laboratory hours per week I have to engage for student. That's the way. More credit, more weightage, more seriousness, more classroom engagement. Okay. Then we at COEP convert grades and credits together into semester grade point average or cumulative grade point average. Okay, CGPA. Some institutes prefer to go for cumulative points index, cumulative grade point index that they calculate. And then we allot them toppers. Then there are ranks, there are branch-wise toppers, there is overall toppers. Then the ranking is done, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. First 10 ranks we allot. Then we have graduation ceremony in autonomous colleges, convocations in universities, wherein the degrees are conferred, gold medals are given. This is all journey of curriculum structure from design up to degree offering, right? That happens over there. Let us study a case study number 1, AICT model curriculum for engineering UG program. AICT did that exercise in 2017. Usual for a year it continued, and they released, there were IIT professors as chairpersons of all these committees, branch-wise UG and PG, right? IIT professors were chairman and they chairpersons, and they took help of tier 2 colleges like NITs and COEP like colleges. Okay, COEP VJTI from let's say Maharashtra. They took help of faculty, teachers from these colleges also. Some leading university like chairman of board of studies of Pune University, they also invited. So there was a team, 10, 12 people came together, but team was led by IIT professors. Okay, and this whole curriculum exercise was done by AICT, and they released the curriculum in January 2018. Okay, what are the, anyway, remember, but this is model curriculum, they say, model curriculum, because all those trends, global trends, local trends, outcome-based education, MIT, Stanford, Oxford, Cambridge, what do they do? All they have been incorporated, no problem. They were used as guidelines, plus what IITs feel, what IITs also feel. Okay, because chairman was IIT. Okay, so that also was taken into account, and then this curriculum was evolved. But still, AICT cannot make it compulsory for autonomous colleges and universities to adopt this curriculum in letters, gratis, toto. No, it is not like that. Verbatim copy is not expected, certainly not expected. So AICT appeals University Board of Studies and Autonomous Institutes that you follow this curriculum. It's a guideline, right? You follow, but you can tweak, you can refine as per your requirements also. I have seen, but in southern part of India, northern part of India, many times. Even private universities are following this curriculum in totality, in letters, not required. There is a wisdom sufficient at local level also. This is a guideline, right? No IIT seems to follow AICT model curriculum because there's a lot of wisdom, experienced people are there on campus. I can play with this curriculum. Experienced people sit in Pune University Board of Studies. I can play with that curriculum, right? That's the way. So we did that at COEP. By the way, COEP faculty, many of people like me, branch-wise, we had opportunity to contribute to AICT model curriculum also. So boldly I say, probably proudly I say that COEP curriculum and AICT model curriculum are more or less overlapping because we were contributors to it, right? And anyway, we are spreading our word of our work of wisdom to many of our aspiring autonomous colleges in state of Maharashtra. Okay, we say we followed IITs. We have all gathered the wisdom from many good institutes in the country, in the world, and our curriculum, we feel is quite good, quite acceptable. Okay, and that wisdom we simply percolate, and then that can be simply done. So AICT model curriculum also has reflections of COEP curriculum. I should proudly say it, boast it. I don't know. Take it like some humble submission to all the audience over here. What is the salient feature? Undergraduate programs, AICT says 150 to 160 credits. 150 to 160 credits, right? Reduced credits. People have to, and I have seen JNTU, Kakinada in Andhra Pradesh, and JNTU Hyderabad, and then many universities in Andhra Pradesh. They have 200, 220 credits program. More credits means more engagement in classroom, more engagement in lab. Teachers are busy, students are busy. Outcome-based education says globally that students should be self-learners. For lifelong learning, they should be self-learners. It is not that teachers should spoon feed them. When they will get time, then when you teach them for 10 hours all the day, it is not required. 60, 70 hours of week, not required. That is worldwide advice. So credits less means student gets some breathing time for self-study, homework, home assignment. That is the global trend. So AICT also says that you go for reduced credit, 150, 160 credits for undergraduate program. COEP deviated. We have 166 credits today. Okay, we revised our curriculum in 2019. Every 4 years we revise. But our latest curriculum, which is effective from 2019 June, July, it is of 166 credits. We deviated from it, right? But deviation was not too much. PG programs, 68 credits. Okay, 68 credits. It was quite found by AICT also, and we were also, COEP also was of the opinion that students don't study seriously in first, second, third, fourth, five, sixth semester. They jump into BTech, BE, final year, and initially there were a lot of marks and lot of credits for project activity. Okay, and then students were forcing the guides. Guides were probably poor guides were always saying that no, up to second, sixth semester, seventh semester, my students could not score well. So let us compensate in project credits. Okay, project is teamwork. They'll show you something, and then guide will evaluate, and they will compensate their all marks or percentage or rank whatever in project. So there is always advice that reduce weightage of project. Okay, we did that at COEP first. Project is not the only entity, right? Project everything culminates actually, everything ends at project. So project credits were reduced, right? And therefore we could accommodate all our basic core course, etc. in 150, 160, 165. Course category is similar to COEP. I'm not boasting again. No? I don't say that COEP curriculum means ideal curriculum. Okay, many autonomous colleges in the country may be doing it. We were privileged to contribute to AICT curriculum because we were knowing Professor Sasrabuddhe, who is AICT chairman. For 9 long years, he was a director. He molded autonomy at COEP, so he knew who are good at what. So therefore, he invited us. That was the only thing, right? It doesn't mean that other people are incompetent. No, not like that, right? So we contributed balanced distribution of credits and engagement among courses, MLCs with 0 credits, right? I told you, no, Constitution of India, IPR, professional ethics, environmental sciences, they should all be with 0 credits. So they don't eat the minimize credits anyway. Okay, AICT promoted mandatory induction program, which came from Professor Rajiv Bansal, who is a professor at IIT BHU, IIT at Banaras Hindu University. He said that residential IITs are residential campuses, right? And to just familiarize, just acclimatize the newly coming students to the campus life. They have every IIT has such induction program. They don't start academics from day one. From couple of weeks, 3 to 4 weeks in the hostels, it is 100% residential. So they see to it that their students are now they know where is bank, they know there are many clubs, they know where is a recreation center, they know where is a park, they know where is a dispensary, they know where is a hospital, all that. They know where is the department, where is the auditorium, they know where the movies are projected. Okay, what's the quality of mess, what is the campus life, all that was made part of induction program. We had a great debate in AICT with Professor Sasrabuddhe that why non-residential colleges should have induction program. But he said, let us familiarize them with the campus because after in 11, 12 virtually, students don't go to college. They forget about the college life, right? So let us have them at least 2 weeks familiarization concept with the campus. Why not? We did that at COEP. We spreaded that induction program in 6 weeks. Okay, first 2 weeks at a stage, but remaining 4 weeks, every Saturday, Sunday, all Saturday, Sundays, we made working for first year students. Okay, and we had that in the whole first semester. We had that induction program spreaded that we did. Summer internship is mandatory in AICT module curriculum. Okay, they also have that intern Shala portal. It was impractical, non-realistic to begin with. But again, IIT professors who were chairpersons of these committees, they said no, it's possible. We have many MSME, medium scale, small scale, all those enterprises there in MIDC. All those MIDC are there, no? Industrial development kind of regions, special economic zones and everything. He said it's possible. Though we have bulk of students in the country, it is possible to attach students with the industry. Possible. Okay. And mandatory MOOCs. MOOC started somewhere in 2011-12. Outcome-based education, outcome-based accreditation, and online courses. That wave, it came in 2010-11. I still remember that, right? We were hesitant. NPTEL has started in country, India. IIT Madras, IIT Kharagpur took the initiative, and today NPTEL is the best resource in the world. Highest, they are very resourceful. We are around 400 plus theory courses, each theory course of 40-50 hours delivered by IIT professors, right? But there is some kind of a differentiation. They don't allow any other person to contribute to their course. Then we have Coursera, we have edX, Khan Academy, many good universities in the world. They are all short courses, mid courses, long mid-term courses, long courses in all domains of science, engineering, technology, management, finance. Everywhere you will find online courses. Okay, many a time they are free also. They are free also. If you have to appear at the examination evaluation, you have to pay the fees. AICTE said that let us make MOOC mandatory, compulsory in the syllabus. And COEP did it already in 2015 curriculum revision. Okay, we recommended that also. MOOC encourage student to go for self-learning. Is it not? But MOOCs at COEP are all proctored MOOCs, guided MOOCs. We attach the faculty with the students. Faculty also attends all online sessions if they are real time with students. Okay, then there are offline problem solving sessions conducted by the teacher. We show that load to the teacher, right? And then all the assignments, etc., teacher plus students solve together. Examination, we wait 50% of IIT examination, 50% of our examination. That we do for a MOOC. Some good titles of courses worth adopting. We did that in COEP 2019 curriculum. Engineering, graphics and design, very good title. Okay, graphics is drawing, first year drawing, but it is not only drawing, because today that board drawing has gone. I'm not an expert in drawing, but then people say that that board drafter, mini drafter, that are all gone. Today we have everything computer aided drawing, and all the CAD packages are computer aided design packages, right? There is a design aspect over there. Programming for problem solving. Computer programming is not for syntax learning. Okay, when you have C programming for first year student, let's say programming practice, it is learning syntax, right? But this programming is for problem solving. Okay, outcome based education says that engineers are problem solvers. Is it not? They are problem solvers. The second program outcome is problem solving, complex problem solving. So don't have to make them learn only about syntax and semantic of programming language. No, I have to make them learn about problem solving abilities. Give them small problems which they can program in Python or C probably and do that. Workshop on manufacturing practices. Very good title, right? Worth adopting. Effective technical communication. I don't want to develop my students as English literature students. I don't want very kind of a language which is Shakespearean language. I don't want language of, let's say, Khushwant Singh. I don't want language of Nehruji. No, I want simple language which is technical, grammatically correct, syntactically correct, semantically correct. Effective technical communication I want. They clubbed a course on professional practice, law and ethics. All those they were clubbed, right? I was having only professional ethics course initially. That is clubbed. Good title to adopt, right? That was, we adopted this in COEP curriculum also. Honors minor. I have a separate slide on that at the end. I'll talk of this. Additional 20 credits honors minors was allowed. Very nice scheme actually. And this is giving me a choice for the good learners. There are bright students on campus, bright students, just like everybody encourages to go for identifying academically weaker students. We also have every right to identify bright students and then appeal them to go for additional 20 credits to acquire honors degree or minor degree. That we'll do. Okay. There is separate slide if some of you know, good. Otherwise, I have separate explanation slide for that also. Then in PG programs are of 2 years. Those who have PG programs on campus, they know 2 years, 4 semesters. And they propose, generally it was happening that first 2 semesters are coursework and remaining 2 semesters are dissertation. Now AICTE says you can also distribute the coursework in the third semester. Some less relevant courses can be in the third semester. We introduced at COEP in PG program in third semester certain MOOCs, and those MOOCs are generally linked with the project topic, dissertation topic the student selects. So that MOOC is guided, it is suggested by guide, dissertation guide to the student. Right? It must be linked with the dissertation topic. That's the way. Okay, so it's a guided by student, suggested by a guide of the student, supervisor, and then done by the student over there. In PG we do that, right? Credit for dissertation reduced to 24. I said no, that student should not earn escape sincerity in coursework and should score only on the basis of dissertation. It should not happen, right? And there is an adaptable course, RM and IPR. Throughout the world, there is a belief. There is a slide in the end I have specifically mentioned for you. That throughout the world, undergraduate education is a primary education. Primary and actual engineering core, branch core should start from postgraduate. That is worldwide belief. So UG education is horizontal. PG education is verticalized. Specialization of the branch starts at PG, that is worldwide belief, right? And therefore, research also starts at PG. That's again worldwide belief. We should not unnecessarily try to convert UG students into research scholars. Worldwide belief is PG is a good foundation for creating awareness about research. So there is a course on research methodology, there is a course on intellectual property rights, all that is suggested, advised by AICTE. We adopted that at COEP at PG, right? We did that. Definition of credit, I told you, this is universal definition of credit, right? And we adopted that. It's engagement in classroom. Credit definition also has got bigger connotation, but I don't have time to explain to you that. Okay. So 1 hour of lecture means one theory lecture means 1 credit. Worldwide we follow that. IIT Bombay has different definition. IIT Hyderabad, the new IIT has different definition. Okay. But there can be a separate lecture on just meanings of credit. I don't have time to explain you that. 1 hour of tutorial also means 1 credit. But 1 hour of practical lab means 0.5. Therefore, 2 hours of practical means 1 credit. So practicals are undermined here, right? No, practicals are undermined. We at COEP have a 3 hours practical, which are having 1.5 credits or 2 credits that we did. Okay, 3 hours of intense standalone lab course that we had. Understood? We had intense 3 hours lab course. Theory is undermined there. Okay. 1 hour theory and 3 hours lab. And together we had 2 credits for the course that we did. Okay. So such innovations we kept on doing. Just to indicate the learners that we are more interested in giving you skills. Lab. Theory is not important. For example, there is a course in my branch, electronic equipment and measurements, let's say. So I wanted to make students learn about oscilloscope, function generator, spectrum analyzer, arbitrary waveform generator, etc., etc. That course was more of skills. So I had 3 hours of practical once in a week and only 1 hour theory. That kind of model also we evolved. So how to play with the credit is a game of all syllabus designers, curriculum designers. Okay, this is suggested credit distribution among courses by AICTE. Humanities, social science, management, total breakup out of 160 should be 12 credits that they are suggesting. All these can be played here and there. There is a plus minus deviation allowed. Variance is allowed. Keep that in mind. Basic science courses 26. Basic science course means physics, chemistry, maths. Those are basic science courses. Foundation courses. Okay. At COEP, even at AICTE, even in IITs, science department. First year department generally is there. Science, maths departments are never undermined. They are never underrated because there is a belief, firm belief, that engineering has originated from science. So physics, chemistry, maths should never be ignored. They are never service departments. Never. They are co-departments for us, right? They are associated departments for us. They are never service departments. We never underrate them. But physics is a mother of engineering. Physics is the mother of engineering because physics defines nature. Nature means matter, and all engineering related. It's materialistic engineering, right? So we all derived from physics, and mathematics is a language of physics. Okay, nature matter is defined analytically by mathematical expressions. So math is a language of engineering. Believe me. Okay, so we rather overemphasize maths in COEP. Overemphasize. IITs overemphasize mathematics. Maths is the only language of engineering. Right? Believe me. With expressions, I can tell mathematical analytic expression. I can convey many messages to my students and learners. Okay, if engineering students are afraid of maths, they are not engineering students at all. That kind of philosophy percolate to COEP students. IITs do the same thing. Worldwide good universities do the same thing. So we have basic science courses, 26, physics, chemistry, maths. Engineering foundation courses, basics of mechanical, basics of civil, thermodynamics if somebody has, workshop manufacturing practices, programming for problem solving, all that is 29 grades. Okay. Then comes our emotions, our feelings. I'm in EC branch, ENTC branch. I don't want to sacrifice my single core course. So program core courses are overemphasized, 47 credits. 47 credits, good, no problem, right? Branch program specific elective courses, 23. See, almost 50% weightage goes to 47 credits for program core. Program core, I should do it gate wise. GATE has a syllabus, and GATE is a national examination conducted by IITs. GATE says for an ENTC graduate, for electronics graduate, for mechanical graduate, this is something core. Okay, signal system, signal processing, embedded processor, 8051. Okay, computer architecture, analog digital communication, information theory. All student must learn core course. Hmm? And then electives, right? Satellite communication can be compromised versus microwave communication. Microwave communication can be compromised against optical communication. There is some elective path, but almost 23, 50% choice should be available in a department for elective courses. And 50% of that, 11, should be coming as open elective from other branches. So my computer science graduate should learn 10 credits from other branches. Why he or she should be deprived of learning sensors and automation? Why? A computer science graduate who wants to do specialization in IoT must learn sensors and automation on instrumentation department. That they should do. Why a electronics graduate who wants to do something in nano semiconductor materials? Why he should be deprived of that course from metallurgy department? Why? So such kind of interdisciplinary component should come in the form of open electives in the emerging technology areas from other departments. That must happen. And see, only 12 credits are given for project work, seminar, internship together. Together. What we did, we had 2 credits internship, 1 credit seminar, and 9 credit project work. 3 in first semester, 6 in second semester. 2 credit internship, 1 credit in second year summer, 1 credit in third year summer. That we did at COEP, right? And workplace could be industry research institutions. We followed this, right? Pune has many research organizations. COEP students do their internship also in ISER, also in NCL, also in DRDO, which is Research Organization of Defense, also in College of Military Engineering, right? Also in some type of, let's say, Symbiosis Management College. Okay, they do internships in IIT Bombay. They go for internships in DNIT Nagpur, NIT Surat, NIT Surathkal. Also, Westphalia University of Applied Sciences in Germany, National Technological University, Singapore. We have MOUs with all of them, right? So they always go for internships in academic research organizations which are above COEP in rank. That principle we follow. all of them are above COEP in rank. We will don't undermine the ranking also. We will never send our student to, we have MOU with, let's say, Raisoni College of Engineering, okay, which is autonomous college. COEP has formed an informal consortium of all autonomous colleges in the state, Maharashtra state, and we have exchange of students. But all students in Maharashtra, COEP is ranked top, right? It is within first 15 in NRF ranking. We are ranked top. So never give exchange my students with I will never exchange my students with lower ranked institute. I will always exchange my students with higher ranked institutes. So we send our students to all IITs, NITs, research organizations that we do. And industry connect of COEP, because of Pune, because of alumni, because of history of COEP, we are privileged. There are many industries who offer internships, right? And all mandatory courses like environmental science, induction program, Indian constitution, essence of Indian culture, all those are non-credit. It is mandatory, but non-credit. All of that should ultimately culminate to 160. There is a star. Minor variation is allowed. Okay, so this was a guideline, therefore. Very nice. How is the recommended credits versus semesters? See, there is a slow ramping up, gradual increase in credit. Why gradual? Because student after a gap of 2 years join the campus. They are new to engineering program. So slowly move them. So 17.5 less credit in first semester, less engagement in class, less them become familiarized with campus, more spend time with campus. That should happen. Okay. Then slowly credit rise. Classroom lab engagement rises. Teacher interaction rises. Tougher semesters are 4, 5, 6. Okay. So students should be on campus most in 4, 5, 6. Students get matured. Now they know the campus, know the teacher, know the HOD, know the lab, know the library. So therefore, more number of credits are in 4, 5, 6. Again, credits are reduced in final year 7th, 8th. Why? Your students should be now free. They have to appear at placement, prepare for GATE, prepare for CAT, prepare for GMAT. Okay, all that they have to do. Appear for placements. Majority of students waste their time in placements, right? That should happen. Plus, they have to go for internships in industry, sponsored project in industry. So reduce coursework burden, reduce on-campus engagement. That is all the motive of this kind of credit distribution over there. AICT recommended this, COEP recommends this, COEP follows this. Many good institutes in the country, they do like this, right? They do like this, certainly do like this, okay? Acronyms I already explained to you. Induction program. We should have physical activity on ground. We should have that, right? Day starts with 7 o'clock. Now, all of you must have done induction program. So I should not waste my time in just giving you what does the induction program means. But there are creative arts, universal human values. We called experts from art of living and all like that, right? Siddha Samadhi, yoga, and literary. We called, Pune is rich of these all resource persons, right? So we called now in this 1920 and 21, both induction programs are carried online. Okay, so we all call them proficiency modules, some language lectures, lectures by eminent people. We had some in-house arts faculty, in-house psychology faculty, in-house language faculty. Wherever we could do that, we did that. Visits to local areas. In Pune, we have NDA, worth visiting place, National Defense Academy. We have DIAT. Okay, good laboratories we haven't seen in Pune. So visit to local areas, right? Familiarization to department branches, innovation, that is all. These induction programs, 3 weeks they say, we did 6 weeks, but 2 weeks at a stretch and 4 weeks spread over weekends. Curriculum structure at COEP, how it went, 2 slides on that, and then we'll come to the universal traits. As I mentioned to you, we are autonomous from 2003. In 2003, we departed academically, dissociated, delinked for University of Pune, Savitribai Phule Pune University in 2003. It was our first curriculum, 2003. We all were members of, all senior people of my age were members of Board of Studies and faculty in University of Pune, SPPU. Okay, we were in that mindset that we had to follow university. So 2003 curriculum was only university shadowed curriculum. Okay, university shadowed curriculum. It was 176 credits. 2007, we were with absolute grading, and we unnecessarily increased our grades to 192. See, we also changed, no? We also learn from our own mistakes, etc. 2011, we changed our grading pattern from absolute to relative. There can be separate session on only examination reforms and grading pattern. If Dr. Huvrekar and Dr. Patil have that examination reform session for you, I'll be very happy. Okay, probably it must be a part of this thing also. So grading pattern is itself is an innovation, right? And then we had absolute grading in 2003, 2007. In 2011, we changed that to relative grading, a tough concept, but anyway. 2015 was major breakthrough. We reduced credits to 170, okay, and we could sense that global wave is reducing classroom engagement, lab engagement, campus engagement. Let us liberalize students, make them more free, make them more self-learners. So credits were reduced to 170. But we immediately started in 2015 only, inspired from IITs and NITs, good NITs, right? We introduced honor minor program, which was plus 12. Plus 12, I'll come to that. So it was only for bright class of students, set of students who can really take this challenge of additional 12 credits. We recommended this to AICTE in 2017 when we participated, and AICTE adopted that with the change in the number of credits. 20 credits they say on the money, right? So 170 plus 12. We accepted appeal of AICTE. We reduced 170 to 166. Now 2019 and plus 12 we continue. We didn't accept 20 credits. We are still with the 12 credits only. We are allowed in COEP to change curriculum structure every year. Our academic council allowed to do that. So 2020 we increased minor honor weightage to 15 credits that we did. So now it is 166 plus 15 credit. While PG programs, we had initially 80, then 74, now 68. We followed AICTE, right? Academic Council is now highest apex authority body. We used to say it as Senate. They approve the curriculum, they resolve all academic issues and concerns, set and review novel practices, analyze and change for better. Academic Council is elite platform. It has professors from IIT. It has all professors of COEP, all aides of the departments, convened by Dean of Academic Affairs. And then we have industry, corporate, alumni, representation of Academic Council. We have boards of studies at department level. Okay, and there are two branches of boards of studies. One is department level undergraduate program committee, which takes care of UG curriculum. Department level postgraduate program committee, which takes care of postgraduate curriculum. Okay, all bodies have due representation from industry, corporate, alumni, IITs, all of them. We have categorically seen to it that we have stress on science fundamentals. I told you our philosophy. Physics means engineering. Technology came from engineering came from physics. That is a firm belief, certainly firm belief, right? And maths is going to be language of engineering. We know that. Therefore, we have strong mathematics and basic science. We expanded our departments. Our maths, physics, chemistry departments are as strong as our engineering departments. We have 15 faculty members there. Okay, they are not service departments. We never underrate them, never. Okay, COEP was one of the first institutes in the country which introduced biology for engineers in 2007 revision. Quite a revolutionary step. And we are now realizing human body is a complex engineering system, living system. It's an engineering system. Lot of genetic engineering we can learn from. Machine learning derives its every concept from human neurons, brain network, right? No, lot of inspiration to take from biology. So we kept on changing its name. Now it is biology for engineers. In 2015, it was science of living systems, right? And it is mandatory course for all second year students. Mandatory course everywhere it is, right? And there is separate biology professors. They are not typical biology. There is zoology and botany. No, It is biology for engineers. Okay. Now IIT Bombay has designed this course. Also, I think NPTEL has this course from IIT Bombay professor. We did that. Okay. Continuous student evaluation. This pattern can change. We have continuous evaluation, 2 in-semester tests followed by end-semester examination. We have 20, 20, 60. That's the distribution of 100 marks, right? All lab courses evaluated by external examiner for reputed institute. This we follow from University of Pune. Every lab course has end-sem examination evaluated by external examiner. IITs and IITs don't do it. They have their internal examination, but we still follow that. It's a good university practice, is it not? SPPU practice. So we have external examiner for lab examination. Project dissertation, we don't call teacher. We call compulsorily industry expert. This practice also we borrowed from University of Pune, SPPU practice, right? Marks are converted to relative grades, course-wise. Grades and credits are married, and we have SGPA at the end of semester, CGPA at the end of every year. 4 years CGPA accumulates, and we get CGPA for the student. We don't offer class, we don't offer a percentage, nothing of that sort. We only offer CGPA pointers, right? That's the way. Above 8 CGPA, we say it is a bright learner. Above 8 CGPA, right? Below 5.5, we say it's a poor learner. Below 5 CGPA, student fails. Student simply fails, right? If the semester SGPA is below 5, student is not allowed to go to further class. That is all our philosophy. We have been also innovating on our examination, re-examination, grading pattern, examination reforms, a lot we are innovating on that, right? And as I was saying that if organizer of the course has something on examination reforms, COEP can really well share that, no problem. But course teacher is the ultimate authority, most empowered entity on COEP campuses. It is as good as in NIT and IITs. Nobody can dictate course teacher about grading pattern, examination pattern. In semester is completely with the teacher. So in 40 marks, you can have open book, open time, open internet, open Google, 24 hours examination. Everything is allowed. Everything is allowed. Even end sem exam, it can be open time, open book, etc., etc. Everything is allowed. And the percentage of teacher trying with new examination models are encouraged. In online exam also, we never limited or asked the teacher to go in this way. Okay, but there is a strict quality control on examination, strict quality control, no compromises. Students cannot and do not dictate the examination pattern. Teachers decide. Okay, but every teacher generally we ask for the approval from HOD and Dean Academics. We discuss them at length, various examination patterns, and then we approve. Right? That happens over there. These are another features of our inclusion of skill-based courses every semester. There is one skill-based hands-on training course every semester. We have co-teaching every semester in every department. Co-teaching means we have 6 units in the UG curriculum, let's say. 5 units are taught by teacher, 1 unit taught by industry friend. So every teacher in COEP has an industry friend. We have IIT Bombay faculty friend, right? And they delivered 6th unit. That is a practice. Okay. So 4 or 5 courses in every semester in every department, they are co-taught. So IIT flavor comes in, industry flavor comes in. Okay, 6th unit. Typically, we also managed to make 6th unit as a case study unit. So we request our big experts from industry IITs that they should only teach case studies. So that brings another flavor to our students, right? We have entrepreneurship as the buzz of the country, but entrepreneurship should be preceded by a course on innovation. Innovation course should be preceded by a course on critical thinking, design thinking, right? So we have a chain of mandatory courses with 1 credit. Our all first year students take a course on design thinking. All. How to instigate the right brain to stimulate the thinking of creativeness. Okay, creative thinking. Every second year student of all branches learns a course on innovation. How to think innovatively. There is a theory course, 1 credit course. 1 credit means 12-13 hours. 2 credits means 24-26 hours. And 3 credits means 39-40 hours. That's the unit which we have. Okay. Entrepreneurship in third year, all students. That we do, entrepreneurship process. Okay. We have MOOCs in every semester, almost every semester. But it's an advised MOOC, guided MOOC. Liberal learning course, I said liberal arts, liberal learning, anything student can do. It is a credit course. Industry internship, credit course. Mini project at 6th semester. 2 to 3 credits I think I have. Okay. In with you can in the 6th semester. In COEP, at all PG programs, we have program specific mathematics course. Because I say no, research starts with PG. Research means analytical research. Research means mathematics. And believe me, 24 specializations we have. Every specialization needs some different mathematics. And these maths courses are taught by department faculty, not by maths department faculty, right? We have program specific maths course. We recommended it strongly to University of Pune. They also are following it, right? And bridge course we have for all 24 PG programs and one credit course on research project that we have. Student exchange program is effectively implemented for autonomous colleges in the state. So Walchand College, SGGS College Nanded, Rai Soni College in Pune and Nagpur, Priya Darshini College, Yashwantara Chauhan College in Nagpur. Okay, then all our government colleges, Karad and then all. We have a consortium and all those students, one student per branch or KIT college from Kolhapur, many of them, okay, they can spend a semester at COEP. They can spend a semester at COEP, right? We welcome all such students over there, okay? And because of that spending a semester, they get a flavor of COEP academy, COEP education. Our students, we send it to IITs, NITs, industry, and all those research organizations that we do. I don't have time to spend on details of COEP curriculum. I don't have that time. I'll be directly coming to some note on honors and minors. Okay, what we did at COEP. A bright and aspiring learner, CGPA up to 6th semester, third year, above 8. This criteria is now relaxed, it is 7, 7.5. CGPA above 8. We'll send an appeal. Send an appeal that an honors track is available to you. What is honors track? It is courses of his or her own branch. We'll create a capsule, a sequence of courses, 5 courses, by taking 5 courses of advanced nature. So for an ENTC branch, we created a course on IoT, honors program on IoT. Okay, for computer branch, we created a course on honors program on machine learning. We created a program on cyber security, additional 5 courses. So 15, 18 credits we proposed that time. And then the bright learner who have CGPA, eligibility criteria was CGPA up to 6th semester. Above 8, they were appealed. We didn't compel them. We didn't compel them. They had to make a choice because they're bright. By really adjusting with their regular academics, regular semester, they can go for every semester. There was a spreading of courses, additional courses. There are honors teachers there, okay, and it's advanced but related to me because they're going to get a BTech honors degree in ENTC or computer, their own branch, department to prepare list of advanced courses. That we did, okay. Bright and aspiring learner CGPA above 8 may opt for minor from any other branch. So computer science, regular branch, right? Regular branch is computer science for the student. This is an ENTC student who actually aspired for what? Who actually aspired for a become computer engineer. So we opened a minor program for him in computer science, right? So ENTC student, if he has a score above 8 CGPA up to 6th semester, can certainly go for minor program in computer science. So he will get, and he will also get advantage for minor in computer, and then he will get some placement benefit for that. Our students did that. Okay, a bright metallurgy student was placed in a good IT company because he took minor program in computer science. So friends, minor means other branch, honor means in our own branch. Additional grades So additional CGPA, we give them additional certificate, honor minor. It was not counted in the CGPA, SGPA. Okay, no permissions required from regulatory authorities. Okay, only intimation is enough. We intimate that to university, UGC, and AICT that we did, and students will receive additional credentials. We gave additional certificate to them and accolades while seeking admission to higher education program. We also observed it in last 5, 6 years. We observed that an MS program in US, in particular, in good universities, if students have an honors minor, those students will get good kind of a welcome. Okay. Also increased chances of placements over there. That happened, right? Let us come to international trends in education, curriculum design. As I have been telling you, undergraduate program in engineering, that is BE, BTech, BS, etc., is considered as pre-engineering. It is training, ramping up, tone setting for main engineering. And main engineering starts at PG. That is worldwide belief. Stanford, MIT believe like that. So common preparatory coursework up to first 4 or 5 semesters. In India, we start branch specific coursework from third semester, second year. In many advanced universities, developed universities in developed countries, world rank universities, branch education doesn't start up to fourth, fifth semester. There's 2 years are common there. Okay, so that happens in the UG, and they start some branching of branch specific courses in sixth semester. It's very strange. Hmm? And core engineering begins at postgraduate. That is a worldwide trend. Okay, MS, ME, MTech, it starts from that. Can we digest this? Probably now no, but autonomous campuses can experiment with this, right? Concept of credit to be extended, maybe deeply attached with self-learning and home assignments. Why do I say credit means classroom engagement? Why do I say credit means lab engagement? Why do I say credit means campus engagement? Why I cannot attach credits with self-learning and home assignments? Believe me, friends, worldwide engineering students, technology students are given many self-done home assignments. It is assignment-based learning, assignment-based teaching, and assignment-based examination. IITs are IITs because they believe in tough assignments to be done by individual students or group students. That is the way. Okay. Engineering programs with reduced formal credits, that is a worldwide trend. Therefore, AICTE says now 160 credits. We should not overload and burden students with formal credits. More credits mean more campus engagements, right? That we should not do, certainly. They should be left to their self-thinking, self-learning. That is worldwide trend. Okay. More freedom and flexibility to the institutes for curriculum design, development, delivery, assessment, though affiliated. This is happening in the country. SPPU, our own Pune University, is quite liberal now, and they even the institute is affiliated for they can tweak with the curriculum, right? Outcome-based education says that there is something contained beyond curriculum. Okay, every teacher in affiliate college also can innovate on curriculum. Something they don't find that is part of the syllabus given by university, they can extend the curriculum. Nobody will refrain them from delivering something beyond curriculum, right? No, that is more freedom, more flexibility, more empowerment. People are not liberalizing, believe me. NEP 2020 says liberalize. Okay, academically autonomous institutes are increasing in numbers. Good, it's happening throughout the country. It is happening, but need to deploy autonomy in true sense. Once we are dependent, that all sorts of I can say slave kind of attitude is still there. Okay, you try to follow, you don't lead. So be leaders. Hmm? Believe me, private university, Shiv Nadar University, SRM University, our own Symbiosis University, our own MIT WP University, they are really because they're into competitive environment. They are struggling to get good students. Okay, so they are experimenting with very diversified models of education. Believe me, that the first BTech program in machine learning, the first BTech program in IoT, the first BTech program in artificial intelligence and robotics, BTech program, it came from Vellore Institute, Vellore University, VIT University in South. And then IIT Hyderabad followed them. This happened. Okay. Can there be very focused UG program, World says you don't specialize at UG. World says, MIT, Stanford say. But VIT Vellore was innovative, experimental. They said, no, I'll have specialization in machine learning in BTech. Amity followed them then IIT Hyderabad followed them. Okay, COEP is yet to do that. Many orthodox IITs don't want to do that, right? They say no, engineering means foundation work. UG means foundation work. They should know all about. I will not introduce a program on machine learning. It's just one application oriented branch. Okay, they won't do that. So it's a dilemma that we should do. Global trained on choice based credit system. Lot of choice to student. Blend of student should himself decide what he or she wants to be. Reduced number of credits. I have talked a lot of it. Self-learning, assignment-based evaluation. Is it not? That must be done. Education to be liberalized and not regulated. AICT, UGC, University, DTE, all of them have no business in academics. They should be facilitators, that's all. They should not unnecessarily regulate. AICT should not say that teach this and teach that. That business should stop. Okay? Campus should decide, organization should decide, institute should decide what my students should learn and what, right? So take autonomy. I am a strong, profound advocate of autonomy. We are at COEP, right? Take autonomy, enjoy academic freedom. Apt references to be followed for curriculum design and development for inspiration, but keep for local relevance. No problem. There are my concluding remarks. We always say my institute is excellent. In vision mission statement, we are excellent everywhere. Quality everywhere. But quality is not an accident. It's a really hard and intelligent and smart work we have to do together. So quality is never an accident, right? Excellence is journey, I said. It's a horizon, it's an oasis. I can never touch excellence. Nobody can claim. IIT Madras, topmost institute in the country, cannot claim that they are excellent in the world. No, they cannot. There is always room for excellence, room for going ahead. Curriculum design can be most novel, state of art, but if everything fails in execution implementation, then the question remains, right? So I can really design most novel state of art curriculum, but implementers are teachers. They should be empowered. Okay, so execution implementation in terms of delivery and examination are its associates, right? They contribute more to quality. Outcome-based education is a true guideline to follow religiously in letter and spirit for quality in education. I recommend that. It is worldwide philosophy. OB, NBA's OB is not our own philosophy. It is worldwide accepted philosophy. Program outcomes, course outcomes, measurable program outcomes, so program attainment of COs, POs, it is worldwide philosophy, right? That you have to follow. Thank you. I'm done with my presentation, so as to say, word of advice. It is not that you didn't know this, right? But I have just compiled my thoughts, our thoughts, COEP thoughts, right? And shared with you. You are all expert teachers. You experience teaching academics education day in, day out. And therefore, this is just an experience sharing from my end, right? I'm open for questions because we have 10 more minutes to go. And I have intentionally asked Dr. Heureker to give me 2 sessions. Otherwise, I have really rushed for only 1 session, right? So 2 sessions. So it's a deep philosophy of curriculum design. I think, percolate to you. Could percolate to you. How much to take? If you're autonomous teacher in autonomous college, take it from me. It's an inspiration for all of you, right? If you are not, still you implement that in your day-to-day delivery. I am done from my end.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Yeah, and I'm open for questions.
This forum is open for verbal conversation.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes. Yes, please.
Sir, I am from Sri Guru Gobind Singh Institute of Engineering and Technology, Nanded.
Yes.
Our college is an autonomous college, sir.
Yes.
So we
you
are
our partners, by the way. You are our sister concern, right?
Yeah.
So
recently we are trying to reform our BTech syllabus
okay.
Of production engineering and mechanical engineering. So in that case, which are the new subjects which will be helpful for the students for coming futures? Can be implemented in the curriculum, basically.
Okay, how can you really implement some kind of tomorrow's world will be completely driven by artificial intelligence. Trends are
Okay.
like that, right?
Okay.
And then mobility,
Okay.
e-mobility that you must have. People say that the internal combustion engines are on the way of abolishment. Okay, all engines will be electrical drives. You must have a course on electrical drives. Must have.
Okay.
Mechanical engineer, electrical drives. You already have probably course on mechanical product design and all.
Yeah.
Robotics must be integrated in mechanical engineering. Must be.
Okay, sir.
Okay? Robotics is a part of mechanical. It's truly interdisciplinary branch.
Okay.
AI and machine learning are tools you must have. You must learn them, right? So you can choose an open elective from other branches, or you can have a department elective in AI ML together. You should not compromise much on basic mechanical, right?
Okay.
Robotics can be a course. Mechanical measurements can be a course. You must be having it, by the way. I'm not an authority in mechanical engineering, but this can be an added courses to all of you.
Okay.
And my general guidelines are have MOOCs in 5th and 6th semester.
Okay.
Guided MOOC for all of you. All teachers should guide the student, right?
Okay.
That what MOOC you should choose. They should self-learn that.
Okay.
But the exam should be controlled by you. That is my word of advice.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Hello, sir.
Please.
I am Parthiv from Surat, Tapi Diploma Engineering College.
Okay.
Sir, my question is that how to motivate the students, diploma students basically, for the MOOCs kind of the course, because as per NBA requirement now it is almost mandatory, and many good courses are going on MOOCs, but we are some kind facing so many problems to motivate the diploma students.
Okay.
So what we can do that I'm not getting properly?
As per my knowledge goes, NPTEL is basically degree focused courses are there. On Swayam platform of AICTE, people are developing diploma level courses.
Yes.
Okay, they are there. And you can also search for any globally available courses for the diploma courses. And it should be, to begin with, it should be always the mentored course. Don't leave students on their own. Don't leave. You should assign teacher for that, and the teacher should be shown that load on his timetable. Then teacher also will take it seriously. And
sir, we are ready for that, but we are not getting a proper link in that directions. That is the main problem.
Okay, I'll find it for you. You take my mail ID from Dr. Hivrekar.
Okay.
You can write to me independently also. I'll find some good courses for you.
Thank you, sir.
Meanwhile, all participants are requested to start the videos so that we can have some snaps, and the question and answer session will remain. One question to sir is that how will you differentiate NPTEL course with the remaining Coursera, edX?
Okay. NPTEL courses are basically delivered by IITs, right? IIT professors are main, but old IIT professors in particular, they are firm believers of mathematics-based engineering, right? All their courses are very intense analytically. They are like that. And therefore worldwide people claim, it's also experience of our students, my own experience. I took a fundamental course on machine learning from Coursera. I learned that first. And then I took the same course from IIT Madras professor. When I was learning machine learning last year, then I took 2 consecutive courses. IIT Madras professor machine learning course was intense mathematically. And Coursera course was quite made easy. That's the basic difference. Okay. So my advice is first take some course from openware, actually OpenCourseWare from Coursera, edX kind of platform. They are really lucid, learner friendly. Whereas NPTEL courses are quite intense. They're quite theoretical that way. I don't want to underrate IIT courses and then say, I should take them at a later level. They are heavy. For the first hand learning, they are heavy. Okay. That's a differentiation I also experienced. My students also, my colleagues also experienced. That happened.
Sutani, sir.
I agree, sir.
Yes.
And I think that evaluation by NPTEL is really worth, sir.
It's worth. Yes. We should all take assignment very seriously. And same examination very seriously. I took that.
Exam is there.
Yes. At this age, I took it. So why not younger teachers? It sharpens our skills, right? It sharpens all our afraidness is gone. We should really surrender ourselves to examinations. I have some questions here also.
Sir, there are two questions.
Yes.
I will read both of them.
Yes. I am reading chat box. A
Yes,
non-credit course from Coursera will give benefit for NAC. Yes, certainly. For NAC, NBA, you have to keep the record of it, but and they'll certainly add value. Everything that adds value to academics on campus is counted, really counted. You'll certainly receive some kind of credits for them. Impression of the campus that you're academically sincere campus. That will really grow in the eyes of evaluators of NAC and NBA. It will certainly grow. Okay. Then there is one comment on what is the time for open time and open. 24 hours it is. 24 hours. So today at 10 o'clock, I opened the link of my examination. We have, let's say, it's a class of 80. Then what my professor did, he had 40 batches, each team comprising of 2 students. Okay. He gave a heavy 60 mark real life problem. End sem exam is real life. Okay. 60 marks. So he gave 60 marks real life problem solving exercise to team of 2 students. So 40 such huge problems. Okay. And he asked them to submit that problem on our Moodle. Moodle is a platform which we use next day. 24 hours were given to them. Right? That was given to them. There was an 8 hours examination, started at 10 and ended at 6 o'clock, which was open Google examination. That there were some challenging 10 questions placed, each question, challenging 6 question posed, each question of 10 marks. Student in 8 hours they can de-link from the examination link, and then they can go to Google Internet, can find out the solution and come back. That was open Google, open Internet kind of examination. We tried all those models over there. Okay, we tried that. Then project-based learning, problem-based learning, these are fancies. We didn't follow it right. The way people, experts on problem-based learning and project-based learning, people tell us that we have not followed in that philosophical way, yet to follow. Okay. Problem-based learning is what? The COEP is slowly going on the track of assignment-based learning, assignment-based examination. IITs are doing it very seriously. They give assignment to the student individually. And for assessment of assignment, there is a big task of that. Individual assignments have to be checked, no? And teachers don't have time for checking individual assignment. At IITs, they have an ecosystem. There are a lot of PhD scholars, MTech scholars. They check the student's assignment. In COEP, that system is now developing slowly. We can assign our MTech students, check this assignment of undergraduate student. Because that has started happening, we are now happy. Okay, assignment-based learning is the best learning, people claim. There were problem-based learning, I understand. Project-based learning, we have 3 projects in the curriculum. Second year, 4th semester. We have rapid prototyping micro project. What is rapid prototyping? That we simply take, there is no design required. Arduino-based or let's say Raspberry Pi-based assignment. Problem, hobby project. Student just build it, right? And then it is something which is, which they compile, design and show, not design, sorry. They build and show it to us. That is rapid prototyping project, let's say. Third year is more serious. 6th semester we have mini project, which is design, simulate, prototype, test, and then demonstrate. Okay, major project is major project. That is either in industry or they can take a thread from mini project and implement it. That is possible, right? There is a course on how to motivate students to take math seriously. What should be the apt syllabus for that? Oh, good, right? In COEP, we get CET toppers of the state. So we don't have to motivate students, but we have many times, I take many senior professors of COEP, they keep on appealing students to take math seriously. Our director does that, I do that, and then many dean academics does that. And then we sincerely say that, oh no, GATE means mathematics. If you have to do something in the research means mathematics. Okay, so we keep on hammering maths on them. It's possible for COEP to do it. I don't know whether it's possible at every end, but tell them that mathematics is a language of engineers. That's a good way of telling them, right? And it will help them in their life. Certainly it will help them. Other courses, chairman of NAC advised us not to enroll on courses from Coursera which are less than 30 hours. They won't be counted. Certificate is required. Okay, it was all its probably individual advice. But anyway, continuing education, value addition. This could be person-specific experiences, but then every value addition is always admired. It is appreciated. Okay. Some colleges consider only NPTEL, MOOC course given by MHRD, IIT, etc. Okay, for certification they do that. Certification from NPTEL. For teachers, for promotion, this could be the ways, right? And then it depends, but I think we should be open. COEP encourages courses from Coursera, but we have that, no, 24 weeks, and then that limit on number of lectures that we keep. Mini courses we don't allow for 3 credits. That should be true, no? I should have proper weightage of credits for that course. That must be there, right? So see to it that the course is intense, at least in terms of engagement, that you must follow, right? That must be there. And then content beyond syllabus for particular subject is teachers purview. It is teachers purview. It must be, teachers should intellectually sense that what should be done. Prerequisite course, yes. Chain of prerequisite should be defined by a teacher, by the syllabus designer. That these are the learning course on digital signal processing. Student must have taken a course on signals and system. That must be specified, right? That must be specified. I hope I have answered all your queries to your satisfaction.
Yes. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Yes.
I'm from Management Studies Department.
Okay.
So we are offering marketing for engineers, finance for engineers.
Good.
And
it's certainly value add for us.
Yeah.
Thank
so
you.
Any more courses if you could recommend?
Industrial management, we have finance management take from management faculty. Since COEP, we have management faculty. So we've been doing that. Actually, there was a minor program on finance by mathematics faculty. So you have 4 finance courses in series. Accounts one, I think, I don't remember the names of the courses, but the finance management course came as a minor. And believe me, it was taken by engineers. So engineers plus finance management, they were mini MBAs already. So we took that course from MBA faculty. That we did. So there are a lot of innovations I can do in curriculum design. Right?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So
I
there are
request
two more
sir
courses.
to start the video.
Yes,
sir. There are 2 more questions. Sorry, sir.
Yes, sir. The participants have started video, but
okay, I should start.
Sir, you also. So we want together. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
The participants also are requested to start videos for a while,
Yes.
and meanwhile, Patil sir can proceed for vote of thanks.
There were 2 questions. May I read out the questions, Tony, sir?
Okay. We can do that. Yes.
Sir, how to implement PBL for students of final year? This is one. And second, by Seema Desai, madam. What is open time exam and open internet examination?
I answered them probably. Open time in COEP was 24 hours. Open internet for 8 hours. That experiment we did. I answered that. Okay. And PBL problem-based learning is a attitude that is to be imbibed in the students from semester 1 actually. So it is not in final year directly. Okay. That PBL has 2 connotations. One is problem-based, other is project-based. So project is a culture that we are imbibing in COEP students from 2nd year, 3rd year, final year. There is chain of micro project, mini project, major project. It is project-based learning, right? And then for problem-based learning, problem solving is an attitude which we have to inculcate in the student from semester 1. Okay, give them some, don't ask them to solve Fourier transform. Don't ask them to solve 2nd order differential equation. Give them a real life electromagnetic wave example and then ask them it is modeled mathematically by a partial differential equation of 2nd order. That is problem solving, right? Don't ask them, oh, calculate Laplace transform this. No, give them a circuit diagram, a 3-mesh loop, let's say 3-mesh circuit diagram. Ask them to write down a Kirchhoff's voltage law and then apply Laplace transform to it. That is better way of problem solving. Teachers have to be always innovative, deep in their knowledge in the theory subject. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
Are there any questions from the participants? Okay. Then let me proceed to just say a few words of order. Thank Dr. Mukul Sottone, sir. We thank you for the intellectual tour from the nature of course and degree and PhD to different implications and significance of governing educational and structural aspects in the various fields of education. You have clearly highlighted the significance of curriculum design and outcome-based activities in higher education. I can simply just say that your session was an encyclopedia of all aspects related to academics. Thank you so much, Sutoni sir, for sparing your valuable time and guiding all of us. Thank you once again, sir.
Thank you, audience. Yes. Thank you, organizer, audience.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good day. Yes.
Yeah.
I'll leave the meeting now.
Good day, sir. Good day. Thank you.